Hey everyone, we're almost at the starting time. I'm going to hold off here for another minute or two just to let some stragglers in, but be with you shortly. Thanks. Okay, everyone that's in here already is on time, so no reason to start late. I appreciate you joining me today. Little housekeeping here. I want this to be interactive. So if you guys want to be interactive, there is a Q&A button in Zoom. You can click that and ask questions, and I will try to make some time throughout and answer them as I see them come in. If you want to, I can you can raise your hand and I will unmute you and you can talk and we can have a conversation and go through things. Basically have slides today, but I am more than willing to like hop online and do some ad hoc stuff as well. Um so thank you for joining me. The title, Make More Money, Do Less Work. Thought that this was just something I wanted to cover. A lot of these things we've covered in previous webinars, but kind of putting it together in one presentation would be nice. So what we're going to do today, I'm just going to quick give an introduction on me for those of you that haven't met me before in person or online. Kind of just briefly introduce rezStream if there's anybody that's not a current customer, and then kind of hit on four main topics around money making, automations, and then just kind of recap. And then we have some special offers for those of you that are interested in anything we have to offer. So a little bit about me. I think it's going on, I'll be able to change that. I think it's going to be going on 20 years of experience working with small to medium-sized independent properties. So kind of been around the industry since the late 90s, which is crazy to think about. But I am born, raised, reside in Minnesota, big Vikings fan. I don't know if anybody else is an NFL fan, but the Vikings this year, it's kind of been a crazy year, but it's been pretty awesome. I love being outside in the summer in Minnesota. That's the time to be outside. And if I can spend time on the golf course, I never get enough time out there. I didn't put this in the slide, but just a side note, as long as I'm talking about it and I have an audience, my son won the NCAA Division III National Championship this year. So do a search, Josh Hebrink Golf, and you'll find videos. It's pretty cool. Sorry, shameless plug there. um, so a little bit about rezStream. We've been around since 2005, and we've worked with thousands of small to medium-sized independent lodging properties. They focus on independent. We don't work with any chains or anything like that. So our goal is to kind of work with our customers, just to kind of help them out, help them manage their business, improve their revenue if we can. We have 24 people, so small company. We view ourselves an extension of your staff, really. We truly do. So if you do hire us for any of our services, marketing, websites, software stuff, we kind of view you as kind of part of our team, or we view us as part of your team. Got over 100 years of combined experience with our employees, and we kind of focus on having a suite of solutions. So what do we mean by suite? I'm going to touch on a few of these, most of these today, but kind of talk about the marketing aspects, getting people to your website. So we handle marketing, we do website design, and then that should drive them to the online booking engine, and then the back end piece of the software. So with that being said, let's just kind of go through, like I mentioned, I kind of have 4 topics on deck. Before I do this, I'm going to launch a poll. I have some polls here. You know what? I don't see. Oh. Yeah, I just launched a poll, I think. Sorry about that. I just kind of want to get an idea of who's on here today. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute, or actually it won't take you a minute, 10 seconds and answer the questions. If you could, I'm going to give it just a little bit of time here. See some people filling some stuff out. Awesome. Give it about another 30 seconds here. Five seconds. I'm gonna. All right. So just to give you an idea, most of the people on here between 15 and 20 units. Everybody is an owner, so that's pretty awesome. Holy smokes, we've got a third of the people that have been with us for more than 10, been with their company for more than 10 years. That's pretty awesome. So thank you for that. So email marketing is the first thing I want to talk about, and I will preface this. So I did kind of lead with automation. So email isn't necessarily completely automated. There's a lot of things you can do with automation, but with email marketing. But the reason I wanted to put this in here is it's pretty dang easy. If done right, it's pretty easy to set up, and you can just reach such a massive audience with pretty low costs. So essentially, just it's kind of a big ROI. So there's some things I always like to talk about when I talk about email marketing. Things to think about before you actually send it out, like who you're going to send it, how are you going to build that list, what content am I going to put in there, what do I want them to do? That's a pretty big one that sometimes people always just assume I want them to book, whatever. But there's some different things you might want them to do with that email. And then branding, make sure that it's kind of set up the way you want it to. And then when you send it, just exactly who you're sending it to, include people that you don't want it to send to. So there's some things where you can load in a list of, like, I for sure don't want to email these people. So maybe if they happen to be in this big long list, you could exclude people. Do some testing, maybe subject line tests, verify emails. I'll talk a little bit about that, but that's just running it through to make sure your deliverability is going to be good, instead of just blindly emailing a bunch of people that maybe are going to bounce. And then the most important part here is, what do you do after you send it? So making sure that you understand what to take a look at, what's important to look at when you send those. This slide got way too wordy, so I'm not going to go through everything, but I just kind of wanted to cover a variety of different ways to build your lists. So a lot of people just do, pass guess. Hey, I've got a bunch of emails here, people that have stayed with me. But there's other ways to do it. So there's just some examples over here of forms on your website. So there's no reason not to put a form, get the latest news, or you know, sign up for our giveaway or subscribe to our blogs. There's just a variety of different ways you can collect email addresses. Um, Buying lists, I would say if you can avoid that, just because you just don't know who those people are, if they're actually going to be deliverable. Anyways, I don't think very many people buy lists anymore, but if you do, it's just one of those things. But so how do you design a successful email? Well, it all really starts with subject lines. Um, that's going to be a lot of what determines whether it's going to be open. So try to keep it short. We say 30 characters or less. I put this right away. Try A/B testing. So if you're using an email marketing program, which hopefully you are, you can put in a couple of subject lines, send out just a smaller group, and then it will determine which one had the best open rate, and then it will send the remainder out with that subject line. Some ideas, I actually liked the icon first, is putting these little emojis or icons in emails kind of sets you apart. I like to put them first when I send my emails, just because it sort of makes your email stand out in a big, long group of inbox items. So that's just kind of one idea that you can do. Create urgency, limited time, or ending soon, things like that have been found to be more successful. You could include some personalization if you had a list with the names where you could put their first name in there. Don't use misleading subject lines. So sometimes people try to be sneaky and you've won or something like that to try to get people to open it. We've got some spam trigger words like claim or win, excessive exclamation points. Those things are all kind of spam filter. They will hit the spam filter. And then optimize the emails for mobile devices. So as we know, mobile devices now kind of rule. They have the majority of people are reading email, surfing the internet from their phones. So it's pretty key to make sure that email looks really good on a mobile device. So those are just kind of some thoughts there. This is really where we need to dig into. So hopefully you are taking a look at this. So I talk about it like more about the deliverability aspects of it. You want it to be delivered to 95% or higher. So these are kind of some benchmarks in the hospitality industry. So 95% or higher should get delivered. 3% or lower should be your bounce rate. And then people marking it as spam should be below 0.08%. So those are just kind of some benchmarks to pay attention to. Metrics that's more about like, what are people doing with it? Are they opening it? So you want to see 39% or higher open rate, which means they've actually opened that email. 2.6% or higher click rate, which means they've actually clicked on something in that email. And then 0.26% or lower people that are unsubscribing. So those are just kind of some key metrics. If you can try to stay in that area, you'll be successful. And then really what it's about is money, right? Like at the end of the day, it's about the money generated. But you can take a look at the conversion rates, right? The number of bookings you got. So benchmarks are kind of all over the board, and I didn't really put any benchmarks on this just because it depends upon the type of email you send and call to action, etc. But I did kind of want to just showcase some examples in case anybody could pull any ideas off of some emails. So there's 5 emails here. So just kind of to give you an example of layouts to be thinking of. You'll notice that alternating the images, they're not all stacked. It's pretty unique. This is kind of all part of the branding too, right? So same colors are used, color patterns are used throughout. The buttons are all uniform. And then this was just, I thought I would share some results from that particular customer's campaign. So I'm not going to read every one of them. But at the end of the day, this is kind of what I look at, the cost of it. $765. They got 42 bookings, close to $40,000 in revenue from it. So over 5,000% ROI. So that's just one example that I thought I would share. And really, this is why I included this in automation, is it doesn't take that long to reach 70,000 or send 70,000 emails sent over these 12 email campaigns. Didn't take a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money, and yet it really had a big picture. So email marketing is not dead, no matter what people keep saying about it. Email marketing was the number one thing I wanted to talk about. Number two, yield management. So yield management can be automated, or it can be manual, or it can be a combination. So basically, what is yield management? It's maximizing your revenue based on supply and demand. Some of it is your nicer rooms with more amenities should be priced higher. That is part of yield management. If it's got a particular view or high demand rooms, if you have people that are constantly kind of booking up a few of your rooms first, well, you should think about raising the rates on those if they're always continually booking out first. And then the other one is automated, where you create some rules around the occupancy and time frame. So I'll kind of cover that and give some examples of next. But it's easy to implement, easy to modify and change or cancel if you notice some things not working out. So it's super easy to sort of set it and forget it if you want. But this is more of the automated part, is use some just simple rules. So this is just an example. You can kind of relate it back to your property, because everybody's different. So if it's further in the future, so it's 3 months or more out, and your occupancy is already at a certain level, I put like 50% or more. That's a pretty high occupancy that far in the future. Raise your rates by 15%, which means like, hey, it's in demand, your property's in demand, people are booking for whatever time period. Let's boost my revenue by increasing my rates to capture this possible additional, 20 to 30% that are going to book. And then you could drop it, then kind of step it down, right? So 1 to 3 months, if it's still high or even higher, or whatever threshold you want, drop it down to 10. And then if you don't put any rules around the, 1 month area, it's just going to be your standard rates. And then you could also, some people don't like this, and I would agree with them sometimes, but if you want, you could go the opposite way, where if your occupancy is below a certain threshold, say like 50% or lower, within the next week, right? So you want to try to capture bookings, lower my rates. So demand has been low. It's already within a week of where I really want to be looking at. Let's drop my rates to see if it can bump it back up again. And keep in mind, if you're sitting at like 35% and you put like 50% as the threshold, you lowered your rates by 10. Once it hits 50, it's going to put your rates back up again. So it will kind of constantly monitor that. But things to consider when you're setting these rules. So again, these are just sort of loose guidelines. Things to consider is just how far do people normally book your property? I know we work with properties that book a year out. They're a lot of repeat guests and they usually book for the next year on checkout. So we work with some of those. And then we work with the opposite, where a lot of people are more last minute. Most of your reservations are coming in for the next 1 to 2 weeks out. So you got to kind of think about that when you're setting these rules. And then before you even set your rates, I always want to remind people, think about special events, for sure holidays. Pretty much everybody does this, but I do want to do a reminder. I have seen people where they just set their rate at $150 and it's that way all year. There will be times where people are going to book up just because people travel around the holidays, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas, etc. if you're open. And then check the events in your area. If there's sporting events, if there's, college football is big in some areas, if there's concerts coming to town, you know what Taylor Swift can do to a property. Know those things in advance. They usually post their concert schedules out there. Usually you can know. And you don't have to be right next to that venue either. So you can be a little bit away from that. But if there's something in the area, have those rates higher to begin with. And then just kind of set those accordingly. So you know your business better than we do. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna forgot to pop open the questions, but no questions so far. So I wanted to, oh, button's not working. Okay. Third component here is what we call our booking abandonment campaigns. This is really auto. So what is it? It's when a guest that starts making a reservation, they add a room unit to the reservation, they get close to finishing, but they actually leave for some reason. Campaigns will actually send a series of emails encouraging them to book. So it's really low cost, super easy to implement it. Some people do offers. You don't have to. We've seen success where people do not offer anything additional off. Some people are afraid. Well, people do that now because they know they're going to get an email with a special offer. You don't have to do a special offer, and it still works really well. And then it's super easy to see your return on investment. So this is an interesting statistic, but around 75% of visitors that actually start a reservation are going to leave it. They might not get to the point where they enter the email address, but there are more people than not that are kind of leaving that booking process. So they get to your website, start a booking, and they get to the point where now they need to start entering their credit card. And maybe they don't have their credit card handy, so they leave. Maybe that's the reason. Or their baby starts crying, not sure. But then sending them some emails afterwards to get their reservation back. So here's an example. This is like our best practice that we found. So 20 minutes after we send an email, we usually have found really good success with kind of these messages and reminders. Oops, did something go wrong? Don't forget to complete your reservation. That unit you viewed might only be available for a limited time. So again, 20 minutes gets sent one day after, and then 3 days after. That's kind of our best practice. And these are kind of some of the average results. It depends. Some people are really seasonal, so this can obviously go month to month or season to season. But 55% open rates, we talked about the open rate on emails, wanting it to be 39% or higher. 16% average booking recovery, and 30% average order values for recovered bookings, and then 40 to 1 is the average ROI. So basically it means for every dollar that you're putting into it, you're getting 40 back. So that's a significant ROI. Averages. Some people might see a little less than this. I've seen plenty of people that are making a lot more than this. But we have a pretty low cost option, and it's pretty easy to use. And usually within a couple of weeks, or for sure within that 30 days, you can instantly see the value. I've included this. I actually just put this in there this morning because I spoke with someone yesterday we were just chatting, and she was talking about the success that she's had. So I just kind of asked her some questions. They're a small 12 room boutique hotel, so really small, and they're seeing that 40 plus 40 to 1 return on their investment. So it really works. And it's just easy and automated, and it will make you money. So the last thing I wanted to do, and before I do this, I have another poll that I want. Oops. I want to ask people a little bit about information about your pre-arrival, how you kind of send out information, and then kind of your check-in process. I just wanted to see if who we have, what we're doing, what I'm dealing with here. So if you wouldn't mind taking 20 seconds out. Got a little over half of you. Oh. All right, 10 more seconds for a couple people maybe that didn't. All right. So the majority of people do just email. Nobody does just text, but some of you do a combination of email and text. What's really great, I love to see it, is nobody answered the fact that they don't send them anything. I was hoping for that, but I wanted to put that option in there. And then I just kind of wanted to talk about the check-in process because some of this is related to that. And I'll get to why I put this in the make more money scenario too, but because it's not all about the check-in process. But so most of you responded that your check-in time lasts approximately 3 to 5 minutes. Good. Some of you 1 to 2. That's really good. And then there is some people with more than 5 minutes. So just to give you an idea where you stand, I really appreciate that. So automated texts, and I put emails in here too, but there's the reason I put it in here and make more money is when you improve their guest experience, you will get them as a return guest and you will make more money. And then I can talk about the reputation management. So the big component of this is some people view this as not personalized. So they want to, like, some people I talk to want to write an email every time, want to make sure it's not automated, but it can be automated, but personalized, which that's the key component, right? Having their information, their name, anything you know about them, you can put in those emails or texts. Super easy to implement. It's kind of a set it and forget it. You can make some templates, decide when you're going to send those out, and the systems will just send it out. Create some upsell opportunities. You can sell upsells in emails, tell them to respond or call you, or our text messaging platform. You can sell things right from there. And then just make it super easy for your guests to communicate with you. That's just going to make for a happier guest. And then reputation management. So that is making sure you send out surveys. How was your stay? 1 to 10. You can have some automated responses of that. If they respond with a 10, that's fantastic. We love reviews. Here's a link to our Google review site. If you could take 5 minutes out. Just some just some ideas there. This is more of a schedule. This is probably about the most you'd want to do, but these are just some ideas of when kind of to send those. So 2 to 5 days out, if you need any forms, so some people collect forms like waiver forms, they want documents, maybe driver's license, anything like that. Send that out a little bit before their arrival date, so that's not a surprise last minute thing. Morning of arrival, this is a key one. I think everybody should be doing this. Should be welcoming. Registration card you can include. I'm gonna kind of go through an example of a digital registration card, but you can do upsells in that morning of arrival. If you happen to offer early check-in for 25 bucks, that's something you can kind of include right there in that registration card where people can select it, and you'd be surprised at how many people will add that pay you. And then the afternoon evening, this is probably one that people skip the most, but you can send them more information about the property. You could build a little guidebook. I'll show you more opportunity to upsell. The morning after arrival, I like this one. How's your unit? Are there any issues? This is one where you can kind of hold off any negative reviews that are going to come your way. There's just some people that will spend their entire time not really tell you anything is wrong. You think they had a good time, and then all of a sudden you get a review saying the coffee maker was broken, the light bulb was out the whole time. But this is one that could kind of help you get ahead of some of those issues, make it easy for them to let you know about those things. Morning or the evening before departure or the morning of, explain the checkout process. You could include some payment links, so link to make their payment, but make sure you include the checkout times, checkout process if you require them. Some people offer units that they maybe are supposed to gather up the garbage or take the sheets off the bed, anything like that. And then this is that reputation management. No matter how you do this, I encourage everybody to be sending this. So, and send it that afternoon of the departure. The longer you wait to send a survey, the less responses you'll get. But send the survey out. I like this whole view of scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate the property? And then from there, you can decide if it's a 9 or a 10. I'm going to have another email go back out or a text go back out saying, that's fantastic. Click on here to rate us. Or if it's anything below, if it's via text, like our system, you can have an automated response of, we'd like to learn more. We'll reach back out to you. And then, of course, if it's really bad, you could just pick up the phone immediately. So yeah, that's kind of why I put it in this Make More Money webinar, is because the reputation management component of it, and then just kind of the overall guest experience. So this is an example of a registration card. Some of you may have seen this. Some of you might be using this, but this is an example of like that morning before their morning of their arrival. They can get a text, registration card. You can build this with our system. You can have it customized, so it'd be branded to your property. You can make sure they acknowledge it. If you want, this is where you could ask for driver's license photo, attaching other documents if you want. They can sign it right then and there. So before they even step foot, that's kind of why I asked about how long your check-in process is as well, because some of this stuff is done at check-in, that you're basically just having them sign a form similar to this. You can just have it all signed, where they stop by and be like, hey, it looks like you filled out that registration card. Here's your key. Have a great stay. So that's just an example there. And then I wanted to show it. I forgot to put the guidebook, but that afternoon of, they can also get a text message with a digital guidebook. So before I wrap this thing up, Any questions? So far, I haven't seen any questions, but just kind of recapping it here. There is some investment in automation, so it's not like all of it. There's some of the stuff that's already free and included, and you guys are already doing. It's not going to take much time. Some of it might require a little bit of investment, but investing in that automation, it's going to actually free you up. You can do other things like focus on your guests and make more money. ROI is the key. So there's a cost to everything, but really the return is really why you purchase anything. And then having the ability to track and compute the savings is crucial in any of these automations. So I do have a question that popped up. So thanks, Sam. Is there any way to require them to watch a video? You could put a link. So if I back up in here, I'd have to verify like with our system if it had a way where they had to watch the video to completion before they could sign. But I know you could put the message in here and with a link to that video, say, please watch this video before you continue. And then you'd watch the video and they could come back and you could have a little checkbox here saying, I've watched the video and agree to these terms. So I'd have to verify though if there's a way to truly track if they watched the entire video. That's a good question. I haven't been asked that before. So I will follow up on that one. That one interests me. So for those of you that are not our current customers, we go check out our Capterra listings. We do have ratings, reviews out there. I like to say this because you might find one or two not so great reviews, but we have a really good rating pretty much everywhere. But encourage everyone to check out our reviews. We do a lot of education. So we try to do these webinars, but we do have an education, rezstream.com/education. We do blogs, we do webinars. We post all of our past webinars on there. We build resource guides. And resource guides, they're free to download, and they're just kind of information about just really any topic that we have to share. Okay, so if anyone here, customer, or not customer, we can do some of these things. So I have some promotions going on. So anybody would just have to mention that you saw the webinar. We have an email marketing promotion. We call it Res Campaigns. It's kind of our branded email marketing platform. Offer 50% off the setup fee and 10% off of a yearly plan. I can get you more information on that if you reach back out. The booking abandonment promo. This one's kind of a no-brainer because we offer a 30-day free trial. So if there's anyone on here that has not done that yet, reach out to me. You should try it. First 30 days are free. You get to actually see the results. I will waive the setup fee if you then continue. And then as part of this offer, you need to make sure we mention the webinar. I will then also offer the actual next month for free and 10% off if you pay in. So that's another promotion. And then as far as that texting guest experience application, sorry, this thing is getting in the way on my screen. Hopefully you don't see it, but if anybody wants a better demo of that, if you book the demo by December 1st, I'm going to just give you a $10 Starbucks or Amazon card. You can pick it just for booking that demo. And then I'll also waive the setup fee on that as well. So rezstream.com, there is a schedule a demo. So if you go to rezstream.com, there's a button for schedule a demo. It does ask how you heard about us. So if you do put the November webinar in there, again, for those special offers for like the Starbucks card for the guest experience app, we'll make sure we're able to track that. So have any information, or I'm sorry, if you have any more questions or you want to just chat about anything else, you can email sales@rezstream.com. just call the phone number, choose the sales option, and you will get a hold of one of me or one of the team members. So, last chance to ask any questions. Oh, okay. Sam, I'll reach out to you on that one. Good question. So I'm sure we can make something work on that. So, any last minute questions? All right. I really appreciate you. There will be a survey at the end of this. I love feedback. I want to see if this is valuable. If you have any more input on other things, other topics you'd want to see, anything else, just feel free to submit that survey. We do pay attention to that stuff. I do try to cater my webinars and get an understanding of what people like and don't like in there. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.